Top 10 Xbox Series Star Wars games. Be sure to like the video, subscribing is great as well. It's time to go to a galaxy far, far away. First up with LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga. The complete saga is pretty good too, but this one has all 9 of the films put together for one exciting, awesome, absolutely insanely massive, great LEGO experience. Whether you're wanting, that whole cinematic side of things where you work through each of the individual films doing the story content, or if you just want to go out there and gather a massive plethora of collectibles and side activities and characters and ships, and you fly in space too if you want to do like space battle stuff and be Jedis or be it's massive. You could be anything in Star Wars, but in LEGO, it's crazy. This is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the original. This epic Battlefront experience has you going across some of the most iconic locations, whether that's in the prequels or the original trilogy. Become a Jedi or a hero as you battle on either side. There's intense action, whether that's instant action or doing a gripping campaign where you take on a bit of a more dark side of the Force, as you enjoy crushing your enemies as the 501st. Then there's also the Galactic Conquest, which is an engaging long-term battle. This game looks absolutely fantastic with its visual upgrade. It's sharp, it's clean, it's the iconic game you might have enjoyed back in the day, or maybe the iconic game that you actually missed out on because this one is an absolute gem and such a time capsule of its era. It is a delight. Just like this is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, the follow-up, bringing with it even more intense narrative-based combat situations where each of your choices will directly impact the way that your story unfolds, and that directly feeds into the battles as you have your ragtag team working and basically exploring these locations set within this era that was a longer time ago in this galaxy far away. It does have that visual upgrade, and it does have all of those epic action moments that you might have enjoyed or might be wanting to jump into for the first time. The twists, the turns will shock you, and the combat will leave you delighted as you use a range of unique weapons and tools alongside your crew in order to take on the forces of the Sith, or maybe join them. This is Star Wars Jedi Knights Jedi Academy. I really do genuinely love this game. You can enjoy local bot action, the visuals are upgraded, and it looks fantastic. The blade, lightsaber combat in this is so good. The blades look so cool. There's blasters, there's guns. In the story, you're joining Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy, and you get to kind of choose your path of the Force. And then, the bot matches are just such a blast, but the story's so good, and there's just a lot to enjoy in this one. Just a huge range of characters, a great dive into the, expanded lore and universe of Star Wars. Such an iconic and great game. It really was a neat sort of follow-up and expansion upon the Jedi Knight series that existed before this one. This is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. You get to enjoy the original story for Gal as you team up with a beaded robot and you kind of reawaken to the Force. It's a dark time. The Purge has happened. The Clone Wars have basically ended, and it's just the remnants of the Force that remain. And you, again, try to reconnect yourself to that Force, rediscover yourself after however many years of hiding, and explore a galaxy far away. You do so with intense parkour, gripping combat that feels very Dark Souls-esque, and you will unleash the full power of the Force as you continue to become stronger and traverse these interesting environments that will challenge you delight you and set your way forward, as you know this is definitely the beginning of a series. This is Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. If you've ever wanted to just straight up use the power of the dark side and become just this crazy overpowered Sith monster, The Force Unleashed is the way to go. This character is too powerful for canon to even hold. So this goes beyond the story elements, and also if you grab like the DLC, there's a bunch of really cool like what if scenarios that like completely change like the fabric of Star Wars lore. It's just awesome. And another one of those titles, visually upgraded. It looks fantastic. It plays really well. The combat's super cool. You get to use all of these really great Force abilities, just absolutely, again, right in the titling, unleash on every single enemy out there, no matter what faction they belong to. This is Star Wars Republic Commando. This is a shooter first, but also squad-based game first. So you work with this team during this really intense moment of the Clone Wars, and you kind of have a team of personality where they all fit into like a functionality of your particular squad. A lot of other, kind of Star Wars, properties at the time really didn't dig into like the clones having like personalities. It's a bit more now, but back then this was like a really neat look at like the elite of the elite clones, and it's just got a really interesting different perspective on Star Wars and an interesting different perspective on the Clone Wars, as you do work as a team through these, like especially at the start here, these interesting Geonosian kind of spots. And it's definitely such a different sort of take on Star Wars, which was well loved. This is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is the follow-up to Fallen Order, where Cal continues the adventures and continues to battle against these various forces and enemies, as he really just embraces the Force and, kind of continues to improve on his strengths and his connection to that Force, reconnect with old friends, battle a bunch of different enemies, and then explore elements of a very hidden, more recently added to the Star Wars lore time. And it's just a really, really well done story with intense combat that, again, very much feels like it's Dark Souls and inspiration, but yet at the same time, kind of very much stand on its own, bringing with it a good story, lots of extra content, parkour action, a gripping narrative where you're very curious to see how everything ends up, and it's just very, very well done. Great game. This is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. This is pod racing. So you will go across a wide range of environments pod racing. It's, it's like an arcade racing game, but you literally use pod racers. Seriously, it's really, really quite interesting. This one is nicely, sort of remastered as to a degree, I guess you would say, but you get a huge range of locations. It's got like some fun story stuff. It's got some split screen. It's got a couple different modes you can check out. It's actually a really fun, engaging, weird take on, well, Star Wars. I mean, there's not really much else out there like this, where you're literally doing, it's like a racing game compared to everything else, where you're running around shooting or blasting or using the Force. This one, you're literally flying around on pod racers, which is awesome. This is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the modern one. Huge, large-scale multiplayer action. A pretty well done campaign with some interesting characters from a fresh perspective within the Star Wars lore, sort of after the whole Fall of the Empire type thing, which is quite cool. And then you've got just, again, the combat online. You can do ship battles, you can do large-scale multiplayer action across all of these different eras, all the eras of Star Wars. And you can do like the Supremacy mode is just fantastic, where it's this back and forth battle, and it's just huge combat. There's heroes, there's just all of the elements of the Force kind of at play, and it's a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this look at 10 really great Star Wars titles. Liking the video is great, subscribing is great as well, and as always, May the Force be with you always.